being recorded.
Good. All right, we're going to call to order this 1,425th Board of Directors meeting. Ralph, pledge?
Certainly. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jamie Cole?
Chair Mounts,
I'm here.
Vice Chair Carhart,
here.
Director Irwin,
Here.
Director O'Farrell,
Here as well.
Director Smaney is absent.
Item 4.1 under presentations, update on the construction change order.
Yeah, thank you. We have Dave here from ICS. He's participating via Zoom, and you had requested these items at your September meeting. They basically are the change orders that extended the project into October, and so you wanted that information. They are in your packet, those two items there, but Dave's here to explain them and answer any questions. So with that, I'll leave it to Dave.
Good evening. So what you'll have in front of you is change order 1. We separated out the time extension solely for the rain, which added, I believe, 70, no, I don't have the numbers in front of me. And then a second change order, I asked Bobo to impact their schedule with just the PCOs. They did the best they could. I don't know that I fully agree with the analysis, but they've impacted the critical path of the schedule with essentially 3 of the larger PCOs, although there are several other underlying PCOs that could have and would affect the critical path absent any one of the other 3. The biggest one being the SMUD delays, which is a little difficult because we've not even approved that change order yet because the impacts are ongoing, and I can elaborate that on that issue in a minute. The other was that they chose to impact their schedule with was the change to the band shell stairs, arts and crafts area. And the third one was PCO 69, which was an architectural supplemental instruction, ASI 13, which actually changed a lot of grades in various places where we had grade problems on the project and things weren't lining up and matching up. So collectively, those PCOs, the rain days, are what, in essence, what they're showing gets us to the October completion date. But like I said, the project continues to get impacted by issues. The SMUD is still ongoing. The other major one that just recently came up will be the impact from Sacramento County and the repaving of the streets all around the park. We've encountered some changes, demands from the CMID, which is Construction Management Inspection Division of Sacramento County. So we're trying to clarify those with the Department of Transportation, get them on the same page so that they know exactly what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and that both departments will sign off on the work done once it's completed. To do that, we had to pull back, redesign some of the grades in the street, and we'll have to go back through Sacramento County for their approval. And that will take time.
And Dave, some of those have SIPS approvals too, I believe.
I'm sorry?
Some of those will have SIPS approvals.
Oh yeah, when I say county, it will have to go back through SIPS, DOT, CMID at a minimum. I don't think anybody else will want to touch it. But I'm not positive of that. But those 3 at a minimum will need to sign off.
Ready for questions?
Yes.
I've already discussed this with Mike the other day. The change order 1 was very understandable. It was simple. Change order 2, following the attachment there was no way I could figure out what the individual items of delay and what the amount of delay was. I tried adding up numbers all over the place. They never came to the right number. What I asked Mike is on this one, just a simple enumeration of what the changes were, and what if there was a time delay, that would attach to it. And if there was a cost, that would be attached to it. Just a simple listing, because there were quite a few things that led to the, whatever it is, 70, how many days was that? 72?
76.
76. Yeah. I don't know if any other directors could understand the flow chart and understand which of those items
Well, the flow
or
chart,
any relationship.
I agree with Director Carhart. The flow chart shouldn't be telling us what the actual change order is. It should say that in description. In the description section says variously attached. That's not clear, especially compared to the others. So I would as well like clarity on that, and if we have actual clarity going forward, not just a Gantt chart thing saying, okay, because to me, the way I'm reading that is there's now a delay providing, but what's the actual change order? What's actually the reason for the delay? That to me is not clear in the change order number 2.
I understand. And this is where it gets really complex in how these critical path management schedules are put together. I'm going to try to give you a simple example. Let's say that the schedule originally had 100 different activities, and then a change like ASI 13 comes in. What the contractor will do, they will estimate, they will impact their schedule at that point in time, at the point they get that, and whether the schedule's been delayed to that point or not. In this case, it was. So they will try to put in all the additional time that was requested by the subs into that schedule and see where it nets out. Which means, by that I mean, if on ASI 13, they had 5 different subs, and each sub asked for a different amount of days, and let's say those days totaled 50 days. That doesn't mean it's going to kick the completion date out 50 days. They put those activities into the schedule, and it may only push the schedule out 10 days because they overlap or other things become critical. And that's why it's not a one-to-one necessarily correlation.
This is not a question that I'm asking. I don't need to understand the flow chart tasks. What I need to know, and what we asked for before, was a list of things that were changes and the associated time delay. This doesn't tell me that in the slightest. So you're answering a question I didn't ask. Like the attachment that is referred to should be a list of all those items that delayed the project, and with each one, how many days was deleted. That's pretty simple.
Okay.
I understand it may be an estimate, but at some point, all of those delays add up to how many days we add to the total contract. And that's what I'd like to have a sense of.
Okay.
People
In the September meeting, we had a change order log that had all of the time extensions by change order or by PCO, proposed change, in a spreadsheet for you. And those, I forget the number, but they totaled, say, 160 days. So that's the information we gleaned off of each specific change order request we got from the contractor. Is that what you want to see?
I've said twice what I'd like to see, a list of things that caused a delay and the number of days delay for each of those items. Like, whatever the item was, a change to add steps to the whatever, X number of days.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Dave, do you see that there is quite a difference between change order number 2 listed here and change order number 1 as far as how it's laid out?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, the rain delays is obvious, a much simpler analysis and a much simpler way to present. Because when it rained and it shut down the job for a week, all we had to do was put in a 1 week activity, and it pushed the schedule out. When it comes to a change, we may be changing 5 or 6 or 20 activities on different amounts, and it's not a one-to-one correlation because, again, they overlap.
Understood, but what was the thing that instigated the change? And what's the cumulative total when you count in all the subs and all the ripple effect and everything else? How many days are we allotting them addition because of that particular item? That is pretty straightforward. That's what a dummy like me needs to be able to see.
Okay. I understand what you're asking. And I think in order to do that, what we would have to do is take the base schedule and put one change in at a time and see what it does to the schedule each time. The problem is when you layer change after change after change after change, and each one of those might have multiple activities, it gets very messy very quickly, and it's hard to delineate the exact number of days one change has.
Excuse me,
We
but
can,
the contract, each one of those changes should have instigated a change order in real time, and it didn't.
I have a
don't know why it
suggestion.
didn't, but that's the
May-
problem I have. Now you-
Ralph, I have a suggestion, okay? We're not gonna resolve this between you and Dave in this fashion. You need to sit down with him and go over exactly what you want him to do offline, and then we can move on to something else.
Yeah, I did that with Mike 2 days ago.
Yeah,
and
right.
I get the same thing. Presented. So yes, that's a good idea.
I will send that meeting.
okay.
Suffice to say, this doesn't tell me anything about how the days were calculated.
Duly noted. Any other questions? We are going to move to 4.2, the 2023 Chicken Festival.
Thanks, Dave.
You
Thanks.
bet.
Sorry. Give me 1 second.
You're totally fine. Grab my stuff. Hello. Well, he pulls up. I'm going to give you guys just a brief presentation on the Fair Oaks Chicken Festival, which happened, as you guys know, the third Saturday in September, so September 16th, 2023 at Fair Oaks Park. It was 12/6. You guys know that it's our event for the community. I'm not going to go through all the things that you guys know about the event, so I'm just going to list them real quick. We have a pancake breakfast, we have vendors, food and drinks, live music, merchandise, kids park, a cluck and crow contest, a cornhole decorating, or a cornhole tournament, a chicken decorating contest, lots of fun stuff. Huge community event, huge draw. What I do want to focus on is actually the stuff that we kind of changed for this year, since you guys are so well versed in this event. So, cute little picture to start us. Oh, they're so cute. Okay, so we have the listing of what is offered at the event, which I just went over. And so new and improved. What we do that was different this year, besides the location change, which we've been there now for our third year, we did some ADA improvements. So this was a big, huge change for us. This was, when we first moved to the park, it was not really a complaint, but some suggestions and feedback that we did get the last 2 years. So the park district has used ADA funds, and we purchased this ADA trekking. I think we got like 300 and some feet of ADA trekking. So if you guys see, it's that like mat, and so wheelchairs can roll over it. It works really well in like sand, like at beaches and stuff. They use it a lot. So we got this ADA trekking. We put it going out towards the main stage where the band was, and we did this little nice tent. It was designated for ADA parking, and then we put a stretch of ADA trekking going out to the kids park, the free kids park. We did some layout changes, so we made it as accessible as possible. So if we had food trucks that were not accessible out on the grass, we put a pod of food trucks on the asphalt so they were accessible. We made sure we had a mix of vendors on the asphalt so it was accessible. The beer and wine had an accessible path. So we really tried to be thoughtful on our layout this year and make as many ADA improvements as we can. And of course, we're gonna continue to do that as we progress. This was used so much, we didn't know what to expect, but strollers, just like a designated path for like just people to walk, was actually really, really nice. I'm really glad that we did it. So we may see this out at different events, this ADA trekking, since we've invested in it. We started a bike ballet, so I believe we partnered with California Cruisers.
California Coastal Cruisers. Yeah.
California Coastal
There's
Cruisers.
also e-bike trail.
E-bikes. So he came out, he popped his tent, had this great little check-in and check-out, and it was right at the entry to the event, and we really encouraged people to bike there. So he had a little ticket process, and we had people utilize it. So that was really fun. Another way to encourage just, less driving. We did offer an Uber code this year. So we had like $3 or $5 discount if you use the Chicken Festival code. We didn't get a ton of people using it, but it was offered. So we're trying to find like alternative ways to encourage people to have, carpooling or, trying to come in different ways. So that was really cool. And then we updated a lot of signage this year. I gave you the fun pictures of the updated signage, which you can see we had these really cute photo ops that people could take, but other signage that we really need for not just Chicken Festival, but for all of our events. Updated like parking signs, directional signs, ADA signs, just like vendor placement signs. So a lot of updated signage this year. And then one of our biggest changes, which I'm so excited about, kudos to Mary because she worked really hard on this. The kids park was like reimagined. So the upper kids park stayed the free kids park, and we named that the Rockies Free Community Zone. We had a petting zoo with Shadow Glen, and they had chickens and different types of chickens out there. They had the horse, and they were giving horse rides. They had a coloring wall with a really great group that was doing chicken-themed activities. That sheriff was out there. We had free carnival games and free activity stations. So there was like a slime station, little like, prizes to be won. And then we added in the Kids Big Business Expo. So the kids were able to come and have a booth, just like the regular vendors, and they were able to sell their products. So like my son was out there and he sold slime, or little chicken like crafts and stuff. And some kids were selling jewelry or like handmade bath salts. So we added that section in, which was really nice. So that section was completely free, except for if you wanted to buy from the Kids Big Business, all free. You could totally do it all day. But then for the paid for section, which we haven't had, and thanks to Mary, worked really hard on it, we partnered with Inflatable Adventures, and they brought in a kids park for us. So they had actual small carnival rides. So you can see in that upper picture, it was the small like pirate ship. And then I think there's like 2 other of the actual rides. And then they had the giant like inflatables, and they completely ran it. Besides the contract that Mary worked out with them, besides making sure we added it into the Chicken Festival marketing, we were hands off. No staffing was on there that day. They sold the wristbands. It was wonderful. It was never overly packed, but great feedback from the people we partnered with and who wants to do it again. And we got a commission from it, and we were hands off. So just really fun because feedback we've gotten in the past has been when we have had like the inflatables and stuff, it's always been very little kiddie. So like teenagers or like late, like 10 to 12-year-olds, there's not much for them to do. So this was a really great addition. So super excited on those additions. And what you guys probably care about the most, the financials. Happy to say we spent a total of, let's see, 16,000, almost 500 without the staffing. If you add in the staffing, but I would note it's only day of that I captured. So we're not capturing, the parks trimming the trees in preparation of the event. They're not capturing the time I take to like talk to the vendors and all that stuff. So just day of staffing added into that, it adds another about $10,000 on top of that. And it gives us a grand total of about almost 27,000. But revenues, we did really, really well. We increased our vendors this year by about 20 different vendors that came in. So that helped. Our sponsorships were up just a little bit. And then our partnership and commission fees were up because of that. And partnership with Inflatable Adventures, Rotary did really well. We get commission from the food trucks. They were up a significant amount this year. So we did really well. So grand total, we brought in just over 28,000. So if you're including staff time in that, we actually profited just over $1,000 for the event, which is wonderful because we're really small staff, and just think it's great that we're not losing money on the event at all, which is really cool. If you take out the staff time, which I know that you don't like to look at it that way, but we profited over 11,000. So I think it was super successful. The event was more spread out this year, so I think the perception was it wasn't as busy, but looking at the numbers and comparing like how much food trucks brought in this year and the last 2 years, how much Rotary brought in the last 2 years, and just like our overall like flow and stuff, the numbers that I can compare, I think we're very comparable. I don't think we grew in size, but I definitely think we're the same size as last year. So that's it. And just a huge thank you to staff, because everyone has to work on this event. It's not one person can do it all. Parks, works weeks to like prep the park, make it safe, make sure that the vendors can get in, make it pretty and like presentable for the community. And then all of our partnerships that we work on, tons of partnerships come out for this. And we couldn't do it without the entire community and the staff and the board for support. So thank you. Any questions?
Awesome, great job. No, it's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
You guys, did I miss, did we talk about attendance?
Yes, it was comparable to last year. So,
but did we talk about a number, or?
we think it's roughly about 10,000 based on like the turnover of parking and stuff. I would love, and Ian and I and Mike and I kind of have talked about like if we could get one of those pedestrian counters or like one of those like field things that counts. I would love to do that for this event. So something to look into for next year, especially since we have a more controlled like gate at Fair Oaks Park.
Right.
The village, people come in from like everywhere, but I would love to do that next year to really be able to tell.
Yeah,
But-
I'd agree.
So is the attendance, if you were to break it down, is it 50-50, 50%, kids under 12 and, parents or partners?
Yeah, I would think so. It's definitely a family event. I think most people come with kids.
I mean, when we talked about this before, we were talking about, maybe charging a nominal fee for adults. Is
Yeah.
that going to be considered next year?
I mean, we definitely could, if that's the direction that we want to go in. I would definitely take feedback from you all and Mike on if that's something we would like to do. I would say it's possible at Fair Oaks Park because we are more able to like gate that
Sure.
and
Sure.
control. If we were to move it back to the village, I don't know that you would be able to,
I understand that.
do that there. But
Thanks.
So one thing I noticed there was when came time to park, the entire church parking lot and all of our parking and a good deal of the street parking was all full. So I think I mentioned this to Mike when we talked about it, the idea of not charging for admission, but charging for parking. I go to the antique fair at every month at the Old Arco Arena, and they charge, starting now at $6, it was $5, just to park.
Yeah.
And people gladly pay that to park.
yes.
Um,
So I'm really glad you brought that up. And just to give you an idea, so we did consider that this year. We need to put more effort into looking at it. But if we were just to charge for that lower parking area and still have some free parking, with the amount of spots, if we were doing a nominal fee of $5 or $10, by the time we staffed it, we were like, it was even. Like we weren't really profiting because we would have to bring in extra staff to staff it unless we found a volunteer group, which is totally doable. So I think if we started earlier, we could secure the volunteer group, and it has to be a solid volunteer group to do that. Or we can pay a company to do it, but then we're not really profiting because the money kind of goes to them. But staffing was hard because we needed many staff people to control that and to take the money. So it just didn't work out this year. But if we start early this year and we found a really solid volunteer group, I think it's doable for sure.
I'm just wondering, I know the one I just referenced has 2 people collecting money as people go in. and nobody checking and going out, although it probably need at least a third person to do that. So,
So it bottleneck because the only way to
yeah.
get into Fair Oaks, to get into the Chicken Festival is come through that access road. So even on like just the busy time of the event, we have people just stopped on Fair Oaks Boulevard just trying to turn in. So if we're stopping them there to then collect money on top of it, it's gonna hold it up even longer. So we're talking, I mean, thinking even farther, we're talking we'll probably have to pay for like CHP to be out there. So there's some costs associated with that, just because it will probably congest that road like even more.
Yeah, it could potentially back up the maps.
so the fee, if you charge per person, you'd have to fence the event, correct?
And we're expensive. So yeah, it's totally doable to do a fee.
Well, we could also do free parking, prepaid parking.
Yeah.
Same way too, so.
Yeah, and just,
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that would be the better way to kind of
Yeah.
experiment. If it's being promoted a few months out and it's like you can get reserved parking, limited spaces, and I would do if we're reserving it $10, we'll absolutely get it and we won't have to necessarily have it.
everybody knows how much of a nightmare the parking is, like.
Yeah.
That would be the direction I prefer to see.
Yeah.
So you don't have to.
Sort of VIP parking.
Any other questions?
Great job. Sir.
Awesome, thank you so
Thanks.
much, you guys did a great job on that.
thank you.
Yeah, nice to.
All right, 4.3, introduction of recreational coordinator.
Good evening, board. Nick Davison, recreation manager. It's my privilege to introduce our new marketing coordinator, Astios Reyes. Sorry, my apologies. We're really excited to have Ace. He has extensive background in marketing and digital content creation, and we know just by the short time he's been with us, the skills that he brings to the district. We're really excited for him to enhance our marketing and really show off the things that we provide to the community. So with that, I'll let Ace say a few questions for him.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be a part of the team and looking forward to working within the Fair Oaks community.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you. Any questions?
So,
All
welcome
right.
aboard. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. 4.4, bond oversight committee recruitment update.
I'm gonna let Mary get part of this all the time as well, but Mary's set up most of the recruiting. This is for the reappointment or the openings, potential openings for the bond oversight committee. We have 2 members that are up, their term is up, and we have asked them to submit a supplemental question, basically, why they want to stay on the board and what they bring to it. So you'll receive that. And then we also, under your direction, are recruiting additional applicants or new applicants for that opening. And so Mary's going to explain some of the things that we've done and are currently doing for that. It's going to close December 1. So we'll have the applications in hand, and then we'll be going to the committee to review those and then the board recommendation. So Mary.
Board of Directors. My name is Mary Stokely, Recreation Supervisor. As I'm going to keep this quite brief, but as Mike introduced, we have gone out to market the applications open for the Bond Oversight Committee. So I'm just going to chat very on what it is we did in order to market that. So first thing that we did was we took to social media. We began doing the marketing earlier this month on November 1. And we did that on our social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Those are all of our major social media, so that's why we chose those. An email blast has gone out, and I believe another one will go out this week as well, leading people to know that we are taking applications, and we have just over 2,300 people on our email list. We did specify that it is for Fair Oaks residents only, but that is that. Additionally, we have all of the information on our website on the Measure J Bond Oversight Committee webpage, a major banner on the front opening page, and then we also have the information on our super signs, which rotate in the parks in a few of our higher traffic areas, and then we also have our flyers listed on our office bulletin board. And that is sort of the extent of the marketing for this. And then we have multiple social media posts that have been going out for the past several weeks and will continue to go out until the end of the month.
We guess we have like 500 people clamoring to be on the committee.
Absolutely. I don't personally know if we've received any or not, but
They responded to all. I don't have to have any or not.
Have you had any individual reach outs like Chamber or anything?
I have not seen anything come through, no.
I mean, if we sent.
I believe we did to a couple of our community partners, yeah.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. That wraps up our presentations for the evening. Moving on to audience and public comment. Any person may address the board on any subject within the jurisdiction of Fair Oaks Recreation and Parks District. Each speaker is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Any matter requiring board action will be referred to staff or committee for a report and action in a subsequent meeting. We have Mr. McDermott. How are you?
Good.
Right.
Starting my timer there, so over 3 minutes.
Okay, good.
Thanks for hearing me, board members and staff. I know that I haven't been here in a while. I took on a new job shortly after we had the Phoenix Park plan, and I've been focusing a lot on the new job instead of the nonprofit, the bike park. I know that during that plan and part of the public outreach for the Phoenix plan, it was, we were getting that plan put in place in order to apply for the grant. And Family Free Ride was supportive of that plan with kind of the understanding that we would hope to work with park staff to make any refinements that need to be made in that plan. So because I've kind of taken a step back, I haven't been too involved with trying to make those refinements if they're needed with staff. I just started reaching back out to Director Aho about maybe seeing if there's things we can do with that. You all received an email from one of our board members earlier this week, kind of with a summary of what we hope to do if that plan does get implemented. There was, the entire bike park in that plan was slated to be turned into a parking lot, and it wasn't my first choice. And kind of the whole Family Free Ride group and members of the community we understand parking is needed, but we're really hoping for not the whole bike park to be turned into a parking lot, and to work with staff to come up with a happy medium on that. And then, if we do implement these plans, to have it in a phased approach. I know that it might save money for the district to do it all at once, but I think the community would really benefit from having part of the bike park available while all the other bike parks getting built, so that we're not taken out of being able to have that access to a place to ride. Yeah, that's really all I have. I really hope to continue working with staff and the district to implement this bike park plan that we have. Do to get people on bikes. That's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you.
I have a question for Mike. Did the master plan that we submitted for the grant, did that show parking or the existing?
I was just going to look that up.
I remember that.
I don't believe that area is slated for parking. But I was just going to pull the plan up and confirm that. But I can look and confirm that. I don't, but I cannot recall. I don't think it was parking.
It would have triggered.
It would be a huge infrastructure change to do that.
Would have triggered attention by me.
Yeah, because the traffic flow issue through there would be something that we would have been dealing with, and I do not recall dealing with that traffic flow issue. We were retaining the same traffic flow that we have currently in the park. That wouldn't work if we turned the bike park into parking.
That's the first I heard.
Yeah, I believe the bike park would stay as it exists, but there'd be a large expansion of it on the bald spot there.
Right.
I might,
Yeah, we'll have to look at the plan. I have to look at the plan,
and
but
it
the
didn't
board.
make sense to me when I saw it either. I understand that from what I understood, it would have been easier to make parking where the bike park is now instead of where that big dirt mound is, because that dirt mound would have moved. The understanding that I took away was that it was, but hey, all better if that
I
didn't get
think you're
submitted.
safe. One of the reasons why we had to do a master plan is we needed to do that to go after money to do the paving of the community garden area and some of the peripheral parking that we had planned.
Right, and that's why I didn't throw up a big objection to it, because I knew it was kind of done quickly to apply for that grant. But if we can look at that, because I wouldn't be up here if I didn't, if I didn't see that plan with the bike park.
That'd be a red flag for me if that happened. I don't remember foreseen anything about moving the bike park and turning it into a parking lot at all. I don't,
Yeah.
that would.
Okay, well, hopefully I'm wrong.
Cause concern.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Thanks, Garrett.
And quick timeline on that, we're supposed to hear award notifications if we do get the grant this winter. We would not see the money for, I believe, another 9 months after that. So the process is a very slow process.
And that would give us the money to do parking only.
No, it's a $4.2 million project. 2.1 million is the grant application. We are matching it. We did a match of 2.1 on our side for this project. So it includes more than that, and not just the parking, but also includes the vacant space that we have now, which is right now on that master plan to be the bike park.
So whatever they give us, we have to be able to match it.
It's a 50. And it can be in kind. So, and we have put some money already into it with planning and all the other stuff that we've done. So we put some funds that can be utilized for matching.
Perfect. All right. The motion.
We've got, we do have one more.
Oh, sorry. We have one more comment.
And let me reference this one real quick. This is the new chief of police for our police services from Fulton El Camino, and it's Chief Johnson.
Awesome.
So I'll let you go from there.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here getting to introduce myself and say hello. I'm your interim police chief for Fulton El Camino. A little bit about myself. I come with 29 years experience in law enforcement. I started as a parking officer, and so I'm hearing you talking about parking right now. That's close to my heart. That's where I started, all the way up to the chief of police office, mostly recently retired from the city of Novato. It's my pleasure to be serving the Fulton El Camino and the districts that we now represent and contract with, to include Fair Oaks. So I wanted to make sure that you guys saw my face. We got to greet each other, that you know I'm here at your service. So if you have any needs for your district, while we are a part-time staff, we're really responsive. And I wanted to be sure that you had some FaceTime with me and knew that you could reach out anytime you have any public safety concerns within your parks. Happy to take any questions too if you have it. I know it's public comment and questions might not be appropriate, but happy to chat at any point.
No, I just appreciate the fact that you made the effort to reach out to us. That's great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Any questions?
Welcome to
Awesome.
Parks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know, huh? It's the whole Zoom world. Where do you look?
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Ian, is there anybody else waiting patiently? Okay. No, good. Motion to the agenda. So moved. Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right. And now we move on to the consent calendar, which will be moved under one single motion. These are all routine. Get a motion.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I would like to pull 749.
So, okay.
You want to pull it.
That's
Yeah, for comment, I just need to make a couple comments.
Oh, okay.
Construction schedule report.
Got it.
Okay. So I just you would approve. You want me to go to this first? Okay. So what I need to do is you in your packet you receive a summary of the project timelines that we didn't have all of the information prior to this meeting. I got this information. I need to share the actual time frame now. You have it here in front of you as well. But the big change is the project substantial completion date has moved to 7/15/2024, and the full completion date has moved to 11/18/2024. This is a change from your October update, where full completion was October 23rd, 2024. So it's an increase. Our projects is now longer. That's the big takeaway here. So,
Right.
So that's the new summary that you have. It is because of the SMUD and paving. You heard some of that information in the earlier part of this meeting. So that's all I had. I just want to make certain that everybody knew that we do have the project is now extended.
Yes, okay.
And you will address later the issue of the road.
Yes, as we get more and more information, correct.
Okay. Now I guess we can do
Motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye. Oh, I guess that should clarify, we're not pulling it, we're just adding.
Just what it's
Make columns.
yeah, it's just an update from the packet you received.
All right, on to our agenda items. 8.1, the monthly Fair Oaks Youth Advisory Report.
Hi, my name is Nalvia. I'm the chair of FOIA. Our November meeting was yesterday. At our meeting, we discussed upcoming events that we'll be volunteering at, such as the tree lighting, and we're going to do the snowman scavenger hunt again. We also, since the beginning of the year, an idea that FOIA members have had has been hosting a FOIA run event again, since we haven't done that in many years. So we asked them to make project proposals at our October meeting, and yesterday we had them presented. It was really fun to discuss and hear the ideas that everyone came up with. Planning for that will begin in the next couple of months, and next month is going to be a really busy month because we're going to fill and donate hygiene bags, and we have 2 events. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are the 2 events?
The tree lighting and the scavenger, and then our service projects also.
Did you, from yesterday, what did you guys decide on?
We haven't made any decisions yet. We just had them presented and we talked about committees that would need to be made for that. And then I think next meeting, we will officially decide and start planning. But most of the events just kind of were all related to like a family field day.
Thank you. Okay, going to discussion of possible action on approval of fiscal year 2021-2022 financial audit.
Right, so I am Jennifer Larkin, the Administrative Services Manager, and this is our approval of financial audit from 2 years ago, fiscal year 21-22. We do have Ingrid Shipline from Richardson and Company to present the audit to you tonight. But just a couple notes before I turn it over to her. This is the first year that we have done the audit from QuickBooks, so that is a big change from previous years. And I wanted to just publicly thank and acknowledge Jamie Fawcett, our accountant, for all of the work that she did in preparing the financials. She had to come in as a new accountant and learn Compass and then translate it into QuickBooks to get this audit done. So I wanted to just say thank you and let you guys know what a great job she's been doing.
Are we still doing Compass for the county?
We have to. Yeah, there's no getting away from it. So with that, I'll just turn it over to Ingrid, and she will walk us through the audit and answer any questions that you have.
Good evening. I think coming up here will be the summary that will be the basis of my presentation tonight. And just to piggyback on what Jennifer said, the reason why this audit is later than it would typically be presented is because of all of the effort that it took to basically set up your in-house accounting system. Maybe the first time that the district had their own accounting system. As we've reported in past audits, the district has relied on the county system, but the county doesn't account for all the transactions. And so that resulted in audit findings. So this was a big undertaking to be able to get the accounting system set up and up to date. So there's definitely a lot of effort. And so that's the reason for the delay in the audit. So on the outline here, the first few items just list the various reports that we issued as a result of the audit. The primary goal of our audit is to issue an opinion on the financial statements, and our independent auditor report is considered an unmodified or clean opinion on the financial statements. So that's the best opinion that you can get. I'm going to just highlight some of the items that are here in the financial statements, again, keeping in mind that these numbers are over a year old now, so I'm just going to kind of touch on those briefly. In the statement of net position, at this point in time anyway, it was showing that you had restricted cash, which was unspent bond proceeds of about 12.1 million. And the bonds payable balance was showing 18.5 million. Your net position, or basically your equity, was showing a negative 345,000. But that's mainly because in that financial statement presentation, it's including the pension and the OPEB, or the retiree healthcare liabilities, and those liabilities are not ones that are currently due and payable, but they're required to be presented on your financial statements. The statement of activities, which summarizes the revenues and the expenses, and again, this is on the full accrual basis rather than looking at the numbers in terms of how you budget. It's showing revenues exceeded expenses of 3.9 million. And it's because that number includes a land and park improvement donation from developers. There were two particular donations that total 3.5 million, and that's the value that was assigned to that land and those improvements. That's showing up as revenue in your financial statements. The fund balance sheets are the presentation that breaks out your financial statements into the various funds, which is really how you look at your internal financial statements. And it's showing that overall you had a total of 18.6 million of fund balance, and 16.8 of that is restricted, most of which is restricted for capital projects. The unassigned fund balance, which is basically the reserves that you have available for future use, within the general fund totaled 1.7 million. So a good reserve to carry you into in future years. The fund revenue and expense pages show that just within the general fund, your revenues exceeded your expenses by 459,000. That page is also showing that in that fiscal year, you spent 1.8 million of your bond proceeds on capital projects. Mostly those expenditures were for Spring Park, as well as Village Plaza Park renovation, and some on the amphitheater remodeling. That page is also showing that there were principal repayments during the year of 750,000. At this point, you're only required to make payments on the 2019 bonds. The payments on the 2020 bonds don't start until August of 2032. The lease receivable in note 4 is a new footnote this year. There was a new accounting pronouncement that requires that the present value of all future lease payments received, in this case, it applied to you on the 2 cell tower leases that you have. Those are required to be recorded as a receivable. So you'll see a receivable that was recorded of about 1.5 million, representing the present value of those lease payments. The long-term debt footnote just shows the activity in debt during the year and shows no new debt, and just the principal payments that I mentioned. The pension plan footnote goes in detail on the assumptions that were used in developing the pension liability. That's a number that's calculated by the CalPERS actuaries. In this particular fiscal year, your liability went down significantly by about 700,000, down to only 365,000. And that's because the investments within the CalPERS pool, the valuation date for those were June 30, 21, and that must have been a good day as far as the market goes. And so the portfolio had a lot of investment gains. So what that does is it drives the liability down. That number is since reversed, so when we look at the numbers next year, you'll see that liability going back up again. The OPEB plan, which is your retiree health care benefits, there was just a slight decrease in that liability to about 2.7 million. The district just recently started pre-funding that plan. There was a $50,000 pre-funding contribution that was made in fiscal year 21-22. But because these actuarial evaluations are a couple of years behind, that pre-funding won't show up until probably the next fiscal year. So the buildup of that liability is just because of the plan not being funded until just recent years. The governance letter, which is also included in your packet, contains certain items that we're required to discuss with you. One of the items in there is whether we had any adjustments or changes to the accounting records as a result of the audit. We did have 13 adjustments, but that's down significantly from the adjustments that we had last year, which were 26. And the reason for that reduction is because of the district setting up the new in-house accounting system. So we're not having to adjust all of the items that we have in the past for the county Compass system. So definitely an improvement there. That letter also indicates if we noted any difficulties in performing the audit, we would need to bring those to your attention, but there were no difficulties in performing the audit. I think just because this was a transition year, Jamie was new to the organization, you had a personnel change in your finance area. So, and because of the conversion to the new system, I think that there was a lot of back and forth in getting the information that we needed, but definitely not considered difficulties, just everyone being kind of new to the process. The management letter is another document included within your packet. And in the past, we've been reporting as a material weakness the fact that the district did not have an in-house accounting system. So that material weakness has been removed. And so the letter now indicates that we noted no material weaknesses in internal control. So that's definitely a big accomplishment this fiscal year. There's several other recommendations that have carried over from previous management letters that are still in process. There were 3 carryover comments that were removed in this audit because they were adequately addressed. So we'll continue to monitor these items until those are addressed. So those are definitely in process. So that concludes my presentation, unless there's any questions that you may have or any areas you would like me to discuss in more detail.
Awesome task you do.
Really? Yes. All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. We'll now move on to the 126 Fair Oaks Recreation Foundation regular
Do
board.
we have to have a motion to approve the auditor's
Yes.
request? I will so move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I guess convene the Recreation Foundation meeting without the church board. Move this to foundation business, 9.2.1. Approval of the minutes for the Fair Oaks Recreation Foundation board meeting, May 17th, 2023.
Do we have to make a motion to?
So,
Yeah. Oh, wait. You have to make a motion to commence the foundation meeting without adjourning our regular meeting, so to speak.
Oh, got it. All in favor?
Aye.
We need another motion to
Approve minutes.
Okay. So, somebody want to give me a motion to approve the minutes from the Fair Oaks Recreation Foundation? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
And 9.2 is an accept and file. We should have a motion for that, correct? And we need a motion to now adjourn.
Yes, move to adjourn the Fair Oaks Recreation
Okay, I'll second.
Foundation meeting and reconvene the Park District Board
directors meeting.
Perfect. I will second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, this item number 10, board and staff reports. Items from the board of directors. Mr. Carhart, would you like to start? Do you have anything?
I've been stopping and thinking, sorry. Go on to another board member first.
Okay. Mr. Director Irvin.
Yeah, these are great. So did we print these or did the chamber print these?
Sabrina puts them together.
Sabrina put those together.
Well, I'm sorry, these are really great. Is there, I mean, it's a lot of paper, obviously. Is there any possibility or potential of doing like a slimmed down version that maybe has a QR code where they could see the full thing where we are sending these out? Because I think these are so nice.
So just to kind of touch on that, our activity guide is going to be printed, not that, our regular activity
Right.
is going to be printed. We slimmed that down to 12 pages, that's going to be $6,000 to print.
Yeah.
So that's 36 pages, so significantly more than, yes.
I mean, I would slim it. I mean,
Yeah, it could be slimmed down, yeah, definitely.
when does the next one, when does the regular guide come out?
That will be coming out mid-December.
Yeah, it would be, I mean, I would love to see for next year about creating something or seeing if we can share the cost or something. I don't know, but to get something, this is great to have out for December. I think it'd be great for people to have, to see, get it out in November or something like that.
Why wouldn't we sell advertising?
I mean, we could. That's what I'm saying. Well, if you,
Seriously?
pardon?
Oh, he's advertising sales. He's hired to.
What I mean,
We have looked into that. I don't have the existing knowledge that Sabrina does. And Jen may have a little bit more, so I know she's a little slightly involved with the printing. I know the cost does go up because we get a discount now as a nonprofit.
Right.
Yeah, it just depends on how, we've been mailing the postcards, just regular first class mail, so it wouldn't impact like a smaller publication, but a large guide it do.
And how many people does this go out to?
That itself, that's a digital.
Well, no, but not this one.
When we do the activity guide,
Yeah.
it's like 17,000.
Well, there's definitely value there for, I mean, it's just like a direct mail piece.
I
Just
think,
a
look
thought.
into that, but
Yeah.
even just if it were a few pages and it just had like each day and just the headline. And then again, it's like a QR code
Right.
on the back that says see like all the details. I think it'd be beneficial. And I think this looks great and I think it's something we should think about.
Yeah. Brochure in hand is worth $1,000 online.
Director O'Farrell.
I have nothing to share, no complaints.
So I guess that brings it back to me. I shared a bunch of things with Mike when we met earlier in the week. The only thing for Sean is I did mention there's two really dead trees along the path leading from Miana to the Gun Ranch. Before you get to the detention pond, between the Miana and the detention pond, they've been dead for some time. They're pretty big and they're over the path. I just wanted to call those to your attention. We can get them down. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything. So move on to items from staff.
No. Okay, Sean, did you have anything?
I have nothing to report tonight.
Thank you. Nick, do you have anything?
I did not.
And Jen? Nope. And Jen? Okay. Well, I really like Jen wanted to, that's kind of fun. Okay. A construction update, I want to just give you a little bit of info. As you noticed, today it's raining. Last week we were scheduled for some rain and it bypassed us. What the construction crew doing what they have to do, they did button the project up for no rain. It didn't rain. So they did button it up again for the rain, and so it's obviously the work today was well spent. That is part of this project. You have to understand. It's not just the rain day. It's the day spent buttoning up, and it's the day or so drying afterwards. The day or so unbuttoning the project up, so you can work still. Yes, you can still do work inside, but we have to be ready for that work inside to happen, and it has to be scheduled. The subs have to be available. All those things have to fall into place during those time frames. So there is some work going on inside, but the general outside work is all that.
Will the tile roof go on before we get to La Nina?
We are trying. There's some challenges with some of the flashings and stuff that are custom made for that roof. And so it is stalled until we get those custom flashings in, so they can be installed before the rest of the roof gets done. Remember, that roof they cannot walk on. Once it's up, they cannot walk. Right. So
I wouldn't want to get up there anyway.
no, I couldn't either. And the SMUD delay that you heard a little bit about, just a quick briefing on that. We have 2 transformers on site. This is a complete redo of our electrical system that services the park and services the elements around the park. We've undergrounded everything, if you recall that. All this is being undergrounded. We have 2 transformers. One of them is a huge challenge. And the other one's a pretty big challenge. But the huge challenge, the one next to the clubhouse, it is too close to the clubhouse. And then the service side, to be able to service it for SMUD's requirements, we actually have to turn the thing sideways. So we have to move it and turn it sideways so we can meet the service requirements that SMUD has for that transformer there next to the clubhouse.
Where is it specifically?
It's right next to that tree that we have concerns about on the side of the clubhouse.
There.
Yeah, new pad, elevations are different, curving's different, everything's different on that. So now once we get these things moved in place, we have to disconnect everything. And then we have to reconnect it. This actually services parts of the village. Yeah, so this is estimated to be a 2-week job. So we are rerouting power, making temporary power runs, and putting poles in to be able to keep the village in power, which of course we should be doing. That's not a question of doing. It's just an incredible expensive and time factor here as we go forward, and we have to have the crews and the approvals for all of these things to happen. So you're going to see this delay. I just don't know how long it's going to be yet. You see an estimation of it right now, but it could change.
Make sure we share that item publicly and with the ball.
As we get more information, we'll share that. And
That's
that brings me up real quick to the paving. As mentioned, no paving this fall, which would have been Temescal and Main Street, not impactful at all to the project. That part of delaying it. Currently, the paving work is scheduled to start March and April. That's an estimated date. As you heard, we have some challenges with our grade. It's a 2.5% grade for ADA. The maximum they're going to allow us is 5%. Some of the areas of the road are more than 5% grade, so they're working through that with a design team. That is going to be, the design will be submitted sometime in December to the county. I anticipate the approval sometime in January for the county. It could be longer. You're entering the holiday period. So the work is a little harder from the county side to get rushed through, if you will. So we're going to see that. That doesn't really impact too much because we aren't going to be paid until March. But if there's a challenge, there's issues, we're going to have to go back to redesign, back to approval, back through the whole process again. So we want to be cognitive of that. I don't want to sugarcoat this and say it's going to be easy. This is going to be a challenging project as we go forward. The businesses have been notified that they knew that this was going to be a spring paid job. Nothing's changed at this point in time. If we get more information, I will share it with them. And as soon as we get the traffic plan approved or even submitted, get ready for submittal, we will start working with the businesses on that traffic plan. It's too early right now for us to say, here's what's going to happen, here's when it's going to happen, and here's what we're proposing to do to lessen the impact. We don't know all those things.
So that delay is actually a good thing because it's the worst time of year to be laying asphalt.
I would have loved to have laid these, just the Temescal and Main Street, just so we get something done. I would have liked that, but it doesn't matter. We wouldn't have been able to do the rest of it, no matter what, because of the weather, things like that. So, so we're looking toward that cost. What we want to be careful of on this plan, though, as we go forward, specifically the traffic plan and how we are in our paving plan. Once we want to look toward cost, we are tight on our budget, and so these costs, if they go up substantially, we're going to have to do some serious negotiating with the county on that cost share. That's going to be something that we're going to continue to work on. The other thing is speed. We want to be able to do this as quick as possible and still have a quality project or product at the end of the day. So we can go fast but not have a quality product. or we could go slow and have a really quality product. So it's a fine point of how we're going to do this, and also the impact. And I know there's been some talk about going paving one side at a time. That'll actually take longer for this project to finish, and it'll have a higher impact on parking and the availability of parking for the village as a whole. Because if we close the park site all at once, we shut off 90% of the parking.
Is that a decision that you will make yourself?
We'll go to the planning. The county still has to approve it.
Yeah.
So we may want something, but the county may say, you're not doing it that way. So it's working with everybody. So when we get there, we'll come back and be sharing that information.
Well, as a conversation you and I had, we need to be extremely sensitive to the businesses that are around the park.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly. And it's very impactful, and it will be impactful no matter what we do. It may not be as impactful, but it's going to be impactful. We've been letting everybody know for the last 2.5 years that this day is coming.
Right. But when all of a sudden when it gets there, and there is a news flash that it's going to be the roads are going to be closed down for 2 to 4 weeks. That is shock therapy to all those businesses.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just gonna, out of curiosity, you said slow, fast. What is the difference between fast and slow?
Quality.
Well, I know that, but time frame wise,
Hey,
are we talking
I
10
don't-
days? Or are we talking?
No,
week and a half?
no, there's no way you could. You're not doing an overlay. You're doing a full up.
No, I'm just saying between if we were to do fast versus if we were to take a little bit more time. What is that time frame difference?
I don't have those dates specific.
Oh no, I'm not asking for
Yeah.
specifics. I mean, is that 2 weeks longer, or is it just
I can't.
I don't understand why slow makes a better quality product.
Well, for an example, if we do it in sections, we're doing one full section at a time and not patching those sections together. For example, half and half.
Yeah.
So that's and then the road-based compaction, doing the compaction all at once. If we can do the compaction all at once instead of in segments, it's a better product at the end of the day. So there's more uniformity.
So I was having a discussion with Reilly, who's running for Congress. He's a director in the Citrus Heights Water District, and he posed a question which I want to pose to you. Are we working with Fair Oaks Water so that once we repave, they're not going to come back and start digging it up? We want to get them in there while we have it torn open. And so they're fully on board.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at California, if you recall California when we were that's been torn up in sections already to do the water hookups and move the water main or the water line and all those other.
And we paid for that, or we swapped for that.
That's
when we run into shallow lines or old lines that have to be replaced, can we coordinate that they do that work? Now's the time to coordinate it, and maybe we're lucky to have this coordinate.
Yeah.
Because some of these old lines that Fair Oaks Water have are, at the point they need replacement.
Oh yeah, that was that man. Yeah, and I'll have to check and confirm that, but we have been working throughout this earlier time with them. Yeah. We're aware of a water line issue on Fair Oaks Boulevard and Park, too shallow of a line, even for their standards.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to get them on board right now so that we don't end up with a situation where they discover they've got to tear it up after we put down most of the pavement. One of the questions for you, Mike, with these individual time delays, I just, since I asked for change order processing for time, it doesn't make sense every time there's a rain delay to have a change order. So maybe you can just account for in a separate the rain days. I'm assuming you're not going to do a change order for each rain delay.
No, they'll do it accumulatively. They'll do it cumulatively at the time. At some point, they'll request the numbers of days.
Yeah, it'd be nice to keep a listing of that as you do that, so that.
They do. Okay. They currently do that. So they have the rain gauge that they have on site that they're doing all of that with.
Yeah, every time we grant them a little extra time, it'd be nice to document that. It'd be nice for me at least to be aware of that.
Thank you. And that is all I had. Just nothing but good news. Sorry.
Where's the other spud box?
It's over on Park Avenue. It's the one that, we have an elevation issue with that one.
It's way up in the air and the road's way down here.
Yes, we buried it. And we bored.
I didn't really study the plan well, but are we gonna bring down the elevation of Park?
I can't answer that right now. I don't know exactly how they're, what the plan is.
Because it goes up and over and.
Okay, any other questions? We'll entertain a motion to adjourn to the regular meeting of December 13th, 2023 at 6 p.m.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.